You know how much we love social media, and that's why we created our social media planner. This is an amazing social media planning tool. It's not only going to allow you to plan all of your content, you're going to learn new things. It's got things in there about ideal clients, content pillars. You can plan your Facebook and your Instagram, and we want to let you know that there is a £5 discount available. We have only a limited number of planners available, and we'd love for you to get your hands on one. We're coming into a new quarter in the business year, so it's going to be amazing for you to be able to plan that strategically and get all your content sorted as well. Head over to our website to get your hands on a planner now and use the code PLANNER in the checkout to get your £5 discount.
Hi, it's really great to have you back on this episode because we are back together. Team Dream is back together, me and Roxy today, stripping it back really, aren't we? And speaking about a subject we know that you love us to talk about, which is Instagram.
That is right. It's so lovely to have you here, and I'm so glad that we're doing a recording together. I love it.
Yeah, we've had some guests on, haven't we? And we've got some amazing guests coming up as well. It's really nice to get like other people's insight into business and the industry. And for like Terrica last week, how amazing was that? I was so jealous that I couldn't be a part of that podcast, but I had a medical appointment to attend to. But I was so jealous, wasn't I? Like that I couldn't be part of that. But yeah, some other amazing speakers lined up for your enjoyment and just to kind of bring an insight into whatever it is that they do in their business and bring that expertise, that kind of expert knowledge that they've got in that sort of field. But yeah, you did well. You did well, Roxy. I've really enjoyed listening to the podcast, and I know that we've had some really great feedback in terms of the insights she brought about pricing as well. And, really get into that really like boss headspace in terms of your pricing.
I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I did tell her, I was like, Katie, she loves you. What I love about having guests on is the variety of the stories that we hear and the things that we all learn. Like, I'm learning every time we get a guest on. I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. We're all learning, we're all on a journey, and just getting it to share it with guests, you, Katie, and you guys, the listeners. Love it. Like, feeds my soul. And the subject that we're talking about today, this feeds our soul too. Like, we love Instagram and we want you to love it too. We hope you do.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to kind of deep dive into today. All of the myths that we hear that simply aren't true about Instagram that you can kind of dispel and think. And actually, like, this happens in business a lot, not just in terms of the gram and Instagram, like kind of myths that we hear either like through the grapevine or from people who don't really know what they're doing. And then they kind of stick with us and they stop us making progress. So it stops today. We're here to tell you the 6 myths that we kind of hear so often, don't we? And just so that you can go and smash out your businesses on Instagram. You can get visible, get seen, start making bookings on Instagram as well, because it happens. We work with loads of clients, don't we? I mean, you've worked with a client this morning, haven't you? Like, unpicking how to get bookings on social media, how to book weddings via Instagram. And it is what we love to do. So yeah, today's podcast we're really excited for as well, because it's just going to open up your business, open up your kind of any attitudes or any myths you've got kind of surrounding this subject, and be able to get your business visible, which is just what marketing is, really, isn't it? Marketing is just telling people what you do.
The thing is, we do hear lots of conflicting information from other wedding suppliers and businesses that you talk to, friends, family. Like, you see someone on Instagram talking about this, that. Sometimes it can just get a little bit confusing.
And people that just claim to be experts, like, what does expert in Instagram really mean? Like, and there's all this conflicting advice from, oh, well, so-and-so said to say this, and so-and-so. And when we sit and work with the wedding businesses that we work with, we hear some of these, we're going to break them down today, we're going to tell you what's simply not true. And I literally just say number 4, especially we hear a lot. So when we get to kind of number 4,
Today.
Yeah. And I will simply say, no, like that is not true. And here's why. So strap yourself in. We're going to get through them. We're going to get you visible. We know this is a subject that you love us to talk about. All of our Instagram episodes really have helped, and they outrank most of our other episodes. So if you know a wedding supplier that is struggling on Instagram, it's got a real block around Instagram, you know, point them in the direction of this episode. Please share the episode, tag us on Instagram, and we'll share, and love to hear from you as well. So
let's rip the plaster off.
The first myth we hear so often is that likes don't matter anymore on Instagram.
And that is not the truth at all. Big red X to that. Likes totally matter. They're more important than ever. In fact, I think there seems to be this kind of, well, there is, hence why we're talking about it, this myth around like, oh, you know, it's not something that you need to like measure around anymore. Totally is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's come from when Instagram has removed the kind of like count. So now, you know, you can hide the likes that you've got onto your content. So you can decide whether you want to showcase how many likes you've got, which will then give you like the little heart with a number underneath, or you can kind of hide those likes. And it doesn't mean that people can't still like your content, because they absolutely can, but it's just that only the owner of that post can see how many people have liked it, and generally people can't. And because of this, some people have started to believe that the likes don't matter, and this isn't true for a number of reasons. Now, firstly, your likes are going to gauge what your audience loves and wants to see more of. So it's a really good way for you to be able to look at your content and get a good measure as to whether your content is resonating with your audience or not. Like, more likes mean you're doing something right. So that's the first reason why. The second one is it's still factored in terms of the algorithm as part of engagement. So the likes factor in terms of the algorithm is still a crucial measure for Instagram to know whether people are interested in your content. So not just for you to know, so that you know what more content you want to be putting out, your audience is resonating with this particular type of content, so to put more content out for your business because that's what your audience is loving. It's also the same in terms of Instagram. So Instagram pushes out more content for more people that like it, and they still use the like measure in terms of how much they determine how high your content is going to rank in news feeds. So just because they're not visible to others, it doesn't mean that they don't matter.
That's right. And I think that like count always reminds me of like when you used to go to a nightclub and they used to like do the clicker count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an indication of how many people are interested in that piece of content. So the algorithm is really going to be leaning on that and looking to that to see, oh, is people finding the piece of content interesting? Yes, no. So it's so important. Why is it, do you think, that they chose to start hiding the like count?
I think it's like in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? You know, when they're kind of like trying to be social reasoning and be more mindful of looking after people, and be more like social minded as a business, and stop putting so much focus on, are people loving my content? I need to push out more content, and that's the reason why. One of the things that has been affected by the removal of visible likes is social proof. Yeah. So we love a bit of social proof, and social proof is really effective and super powerful as well, because, you know, we are creatures of habit, and we are people, like people follow people. So when other people are commenting and engaging on your posts, it's really great for you, it's really great for the algorithm, but also as well, it encourages other people to do the same thing. We've all heard the phrase like people are like sheep, but it is true, and we know it's true because we've used it and have been aware of this kind of social proof concept inside of our business for a really long time, in terms of like, you know, magic number of likes, or if you're a business that's got a lot of followers or a lot of comments or a lot of likes, or you get a lot of people hit your blog, or perhaps you've got an award or a recommendation, or you're you've been featured in a certain magazine, that then you become more influential and people are more likely to kind of associate authority with that. So the only thing that's going to be kind of affected by the removal of visible likes is that social proof. But you can try more engagement strategies than that, in terms of like getting more comments from people, in terms to kind of replace those visible likes if you're somebody that wants to turn the like factor off. But the myth around this one is that since Instagram have removed that, you know, show likes, that likes don't matter on your content. And we absolutely, for the reasons that we've said, it absolutely does. Which takes us to number 2, Roxy.
Yes, it does. And this one is, we talk about this a lot with our clients and we hear it all the time. So myth number 2 is that the follower count is the be all and end all of everything. And this is simply not true. So some businesses clearly believe that having an enormous follower count is what they should be focused on when it comes to Instagram marketing. But we say no to this. We say no. What's more important is having engaged, meaningful follower community that is engaging with your posts, that are interested in your content and that are there on your account for the right reasons.
And ultimately are going to purchase from your business. You know, I think there's this thing with it, you know, the 10,000 follower mark, wasn't it? And some businesses like do believe that having an enormous follower account, for exactly the reasons we mentioned in the first kind of myth that we dispelled, is what they need to focus on when it comes to Instagram marketing. But exactly what you said, it is much more important to have an audience of target market. And I would much rather have an audience of 200 people followers who are engaging with our content, who are absolutely loving what we put out there, who feel like we're speaking directly to them, who, you know, have wedding businesses, have small wedding businesses and want to get to the next level in their business. They want to make more money, and they are hugely, you know, they're our ideal clients, right? And we've got the potential to sell to them and for them to come into our courses and into our programs and to be coached, etc. Than have 25,000 or 175,000 followers, which yes, looks amazing.
Fantastic.
But does it mean anything? Like, firstly, I can't serve 175,000 businesses as much as I would love to. And maybe one day I will. I don't have the capacity to serve 175,000 businesses, end of. And you won't have the capacity to serve 175,000 weddings unless you have got the most ginormous team ever.
In which case, like, what are you doing here? Teacher.
Get in touch. We want to know your secrets. So unless you are kind of an Instagram influencer and you want to be paid by your content, or, you know, you're being paid to, you know, promote something from somebody, which is not the case with the wedding industry. It's not the case at all. It's much better to focus on engagement rate and to have followers that are going to become potential clients. So meaningful followers in your location, if you're a location-based business, that are going to become a customer at some point down the line.
Yeah, I think a question that you should be asking yourself if you are thinking, okay, is a higher number of followers, is that going to benefit me? Would you rather have a smaller following of engaged people that are your ideal clients, or would you rather have a larger number of, it could be a range from people that don't even actually see your content because they're actually not interested in what you're putting out there, but they just follow you anyway. So would you rather have thousands of unengaged followers or a smaller pool of highly engaged people that you can build that know, like, and trust with? I know which one I would rather have. Quality over quantity.
And don't sweat if your follower count is growing like at a lower rate than you would like. Like, you can use kind of visibility boosting strategies in terms of getting your business seen by more of the audience that you already have and newer audiences in your field that you want to work in. So stuff like using better hashtags or running a contest that would speak to your ideal client and be something that only your ideal client would want are really great ways to get your business visible by not only new audiences, but also your existing followers now as well.
So your follower count isn't the most important metric on Instagram. It's your engagement rate that's the important one. So as I've just said, much better to have that engaged core foundation of people than having thousands and thousands and thousands of people that probably aren't interested in what you're offering anyway.
No, but just on this point, don't use this as an excuse to not grow your followers, right?
Right.
Especially in this industry, it's a quite a transient client. They come in, they get married, they leave. And yes, there are ways, as we talk about lots and lots of times, of how you can kind of bring them back into your funnel and resell down the line. However, if your mainly focus is on weddings, and that's what you do, and your main focus is on weddings, we're almost kind of chasing that next client. Yes, we want your existing followers can still recommend you, and they still might be kind of engaging with your brand for a certain period after they've got married. Maybe only your hardcore kind of amazing wedding clients, like perfect ideal clients, will still be engaging with your brand down the line. And then we hope that they will refer us, they'll see something on Instagram and they'll refer us in the future, which is fantastic. But it is important in this industry, especially, is to consistently be growing your followers and consistently growing. It's not good enough to think, oh, okay, I've got X amount of Instagram followers now, I've made, or that, I've not lost followers, so I'm doing okay. Well, people don't tend to kind of, yes, they unfollow on Instagram, don't they? Some of the time they tend to just unfollow you just because they've now got married. So you do still need to continually be growing your accounts and attracting new people using the methods we're talking about today. Right. So the next myth that we hear about is that the algorithm is working against businesses, and that it is working against kind of all of the marketing that you want to do, and they're only interested in ads. And we get where this myth comes from. Like, we're all wary about like Facebook's hack job on the reach of business pages, and what kind of happened when business pages first happened, and how it kind of slowly drips off in terms of organic engagement. So organic engagement is the engagement where we're not paying for ads, so it's stuff organically that's growing from people just loving your content, and how it became really difficult for pages on Facebook to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So when kind of business accounts rolled out for Instagram, everybody automatically assumed that they'd be penalized when it came to visibility. So if they were a business account, they'd be penalized when it came to visibility. And that's not true. As it stands, Instagram is a pretty fair playing field across the board for personal business accounts, and creator accounts. Like, it's pretty level. And Instagram has even cleared this up. And those of you that kind of follow Instagram's main business account, there's quite often when the CEO of Instagram will come on, Adam, and he'll do stories quite often. And he even cleared this up in one of the stories that he did, where he mentioned that that what matters on Instagram is the accounts that users are engaging with. So the most, and it's nothing to do with the status of an individual account at all. So it's nothing to do with the size of your business, whether you're a small business, a massive business, whether you're a personal account, whether you are a creator account, or whatever it is that you do. The status of that account is irrelevant. And brands are, happily marketing on Instagram with really high visibility. And, Instagram users are much more likely to engage with brands too, and actively seek them out much more than they do so on other platforms. So reducing the reach of business accounts absolutely does not make sense for Instagram to do at all. Users are coming to Instagram to interact with brands, to interact with the businesses that they want to support and want to find more about. And, squalling businesses' reach, businesses' growth isn't going to work in that kind of plan.
I saw a statistic recently that said that 64% of Instagram users would happily purchase things from the businesses that they see on Instagram, which is an incredible percentage, really, when we actually think about it. And I think we all need to kind of cleanse the idea out of our heads that algorithm is bad news. It's not. It's there to show the users of Instagram the things that they are interested in. And if that is a couple that is wedding planning and you market yourself the right way, you will be made visible to those people. That's how it works.
We were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? It's like a good time to be alive. Like, it's a good time to have a business, like the best time ever. Like, from the opportunities that come our way, the way it's easier than ever to market our businesses. It's easier than ever to get in front of our clients. Yes, it takes some time. Yes, it takes some strategy. But, you know, it's not a case of whacking the yellow pages out and cold calling or waiting for people to come to us. You know, we can get in front of our ideal client en masse. And yeah, absolutely. Cleanse that idea.
Cleanse it away. Algorithm is good. Algorithm is good. Repeat.
It's not working against you. If you feel
it work for you.
Yeah, if you feel, and this is the answer, like, you know, you're going to get it straight when I talk. Like, if you're not getting the results you want to see on Instagram, it's not going to be Instagram, it's going to be you. So it's going to be the content that you're putting out. It's going to be how you're engaging with people or not engaging with people, how much effort you're putting into your strategy on Instagram, whether you're just posting and ghosting. So it could be that your content is crap. It could be that your caption or your hashtags you haven't used are fantastic for a number of reasons, but it won't be that Instagram is penalizing your business. It's not going to be that.
No, do you know what it is? I think I've just had a eureka moment. I think when we find things difficult, we call them bad, and then we bury our heads, and then we don't learn about them. We don't lean into these things. We go, okay, no, that's not working for me, so it's not my fault, it's their fault. Bury my head, moving on. But it just takes some learning. That's all it takes. Anyone can get their head around Instagram, you know, from the podcasts that we do, the blogs, everything we put out there. There's loads of information out there. Go learn it. It is a great time to be alive. Like, you, exactly what you were saying when we were having that conversation about, oh, my life, can you like imagine marketing your business before the internet? Like, use these things to your advantage and just learn the processes. So this brings us on to myth number 4. Again, one that we hear quite often, and that is that fewer hashtags that you use, the better. Now, this one is one that has had much debate over the last couple of years, and we want to put this myth to bed, don't we?
Yes, we do.
The thing with hashtags is, and I think it's like everything on Instagram or social media, is that we overthink these things. So the bottom line is the hashtags that you use need to be relevant to what you do, the content that you're sharing, the caption that you've wrote. It needs to be relevant, and therefore that piece of content will get pushed out to those people that are more interested in that type of content. Therefore, your content will get seen. So what we would say about using hashtags is use as many as you need to, use as many as you feel are relevant to that piece of content that you're putting out, whether that's 5, whether that's 10, whether that's 30.
Yeah, I think, and also relevant to the audience as well. So not just in terms of content, like some people will say less hashtags is better. We're certainly not in that field. Other people will say like 9 to 11 is kind of the sweet spot in terms of engagement. Test it out for yourself and see kind of what works. What we say is every hashtag that you use is an opportunity for eyes on your business, and opportunity. And it's not just the only way that content gets pushed out on Instagram at all. There are other ways that content gets pushed out in terms of like the keywords that you're using, the type of content that you put out regularly. And if you're definitely using content pillars, Instagram can sort of predict who to put your content out in front of. But hashtags are an opportunity for you to get eyes on your content, not just fresh eyes, new prospects, new clients, but also the people that follow you currently as well. If you're struggling to come up with like a solid list of hashtags, and even if you're not, you can use our hashtag directory. We'll pop a little link in the comments below. These it just helps you come up with hashtags that you can use and offer you an insight into their popularity and their potential performance, because we each and every year we go through, don't we?
We do.
Look at trends, we look at the hashtags, we do all the hard work for you so that you don't have to stress and have hashtag headaches about which hashtags you want to be using. So we categorize them all as well, so that it's really easy for you to kind of figure out whether they're relevant or unrelevant. But no matter what you choose to do in terms of your hashtags, Remember to test your strategies, to test the hashtags that you're using, to look at your insights, and also to switch them up. So it's not good enough for you to just use the same hashtags over and over and over. You do need to shake up the hashtags. And by incorporating new hashtags on each post, you'll have more luck reaching new audience members, since you might show up in more feeds. So if you're still feeling baffled by Instagram hashtags, go and check out our hashtag directory, and we'll pop a link for that below.
Yes, we will. And a little tip there, what I like to tell quite a lot of the clients that I'm coaching is keep your hashtags set somewhere safe so you can access them easily, so you're not scrambling around thinking, oh my life, I'm creating this piece of content and now I've got to go over there and get the hashtags. Keep them somewhere readily available, notes in your phone, Google Doc that's pinned to your browser, Word doc that's on your desktop, whatever it is. Just make life a little bit easier for yourself. Just a little bit of forward planning goes a very long way. And the main thing to do is don't be afraid to test them out. Just test the strategy, note down, go and have a look in your insights. Okay, this hashtag performed like this, shall I use it again? If it's not performing, bin it off. Just go in, don't be scared to, it's your business, so go and test the hashtags.
So the next myth that we want to debunk, and something that we see in terms of an Instagram growth strategy that is one absolutely you should be staying away from, is the follow unfollow method. So this is exactly what the name implies. Like, you find and unfollow a bunch of accounts, hopefully in your niche. They then receive a notification that you followed them. They come and look at your profile and probably follow you back. If they don't follow you back, it's probably because your content isn't kind of what they want to see. But then you would then, a few days or a week later, you go in and unfollow those accounts, and voila, you've got several hundred Instagram users within a few weeks, and hopefully they're not going to realize that you've unfollowed them.
Yeah.
And there's two ways that people do this. Number one, they can do it manually. Number two, they can use a third-party app, which Instagram quite often will block you out of your own account for using. And it's because this method, it's a bit of a dodgy method, to be honest, and it's one that we do not recommend in any kind of Instagram strategy, Instagram growth strategy for your business. We don't like it. We would want you to stay away from it. And this is why it doesn't work. So first of all, it violates Instagram's community guidelines in terms of use. And absolutely, with what I said, that if you're using a third-party app to follow people and then unfollow people, you can get locked out of your account or have your account restricted. Secondly, and probably more importantly, especially in kind of small businesses and in the industry that we work in, is it's not a great practice to boost your audience. Like, it's not great for your reputation. If you start following like a lot of users and then they kind of follow you back out of politeness, or they kind of like what they see, only to find that a few days later that you've unfollowed them, you're going to be considered superficial, like somebody who only cares about their follower count. They only care about that kind of number that we mentioned before, rather than actually caring about who follows them. So it's annoying for it's annoying for those people who follow you, and you risk your credibility as well as a business. Sometimes as well, you attract the wrong audience. I'm not going to go too much into this one, but you might go in, follow a load of people, especially if you're kind of using this method for those big metrics and thinking, right, I want hundreds and hundreds of people to follow my account, so I'm going to go do this en masse. You can kind of follow people in the heat of the moment and then totally forget about them. And then no matter how good the content you created, those people are never going to genuinely be interested in your stuff anyway. And they'll end up unfollowing you anyway down the line, because it's not in your niche. It's not speaking to the audience it was created for. It's much better to find and follow accounts in your niche and be genuinely interested and comment on and like their posts. And you can get several new followers this way. This isn't an Instagram growth strategy we would most definitely recommend you do. And engage with influenced content as well, whom like you think would be interested in connecting with you, and who also your ideal client are following as well. And that's the way you attract the right audience, rather than kind of follow unfollow accounts as well. The last reason to kind of stay away from this method is that your account can become invisible, because those people with like a larger number of followers, usually the engagement goes down after a while because there is much more followers. The engagement just goes down, doesn't it, Roxy? Like, we see this time and time again, the accounts that reach down if those bigger numbers. And those of you with kind of like an artificially inflated poor quality audience, because you've used this follow unfollow method, you're going to generate fewer comments and likes because your content isn't specifically for the people you were creating it for anyway. So then your account
you're basically wasting your time.
Yeah, like your account's not going to appear on the explore page, you're not going to rank in the hashtags anymore, and very soon you're going to start losing followers because your account becomes invisible to them. And people genuinely do go through their Instagram followers quite regularly to just kind of, who am I following? Am I still interested in that content? Am I still seeing that content? And you can stop this decline by just not practicing this, follow, unfollow method at all. So yeah, that's the myth we kind of wanted to debunk. The follow, and then a few days later, unfollowing method is a good growth strategy for your business. It absolutely is not.
It is not. And it kind of goes back to myth number 2 that we spoke about, about the follow account. It's much better to have that engaged following that's actually interested in your stuff than just go in and, I know lots of people just go and follow lists and lists of people, not even couples getting married, whatever. So they are not going to see your content. They are not going to be interested in it. Yes, your numbers are going to go up, but your engagement is going to go down.
And it's not going to be the people that are interested in your content anyway.
No.
Exactly what you said. Like, it's much better to have an audience that loves your content. Then Instagram's going to push out more content to more people like them. Those people are going to create a relationship with your brand. They're going to follow your brand. Absolutely, above anything else, it's about who your community is and caring about that community as well. Like, you just come across like you don't care about your followers, you don't care about your audience, and you should care about your followers. This is where you're going to get your business from, people. This is where you're going to get your sales from.
This is exactly the opposite way, like the wrong way to build know, like, and trust by doing this. Do not do it. Do not do it. Shall we go to myth number 6? One of my favorites that people seem to think, and this is that if I post constantly, I'm going to get an amazing, more engaged account. This is not true. For so many reasons. I had a little laugh because I just think, okay, where do we start with this? And I think the first thing to say is you need to be posting quality content constantly, and that's the main word here, rather than just content constantly. There's a difference there.
Make sure that your content calendar is full, but it doesn't have to be stuffed to the brim. Like, I think there's this kind of myth that you need to post multiple times every day to see results, and if you don't, you're not constantly showing up on social media, you're not going to see results. And exactly that, this is not true. It's a little bit different for stories, and we'll cover that slightly in a minute. But in terms of your content, quality over quantity will always be true on social media. There's no need to be posting more than kind of 3 times a week if you don't have something like absolutely spectacular that you need to share with your audience right now. And also as well, you want to give people a chance to see and engage with your last piece of content, so that then they're creating a relationship with your brand, because they've had time to see your last bit of content, engaged with it, before you kind of flood them with 3 more pieces of content and you kind of overwhelm them with only stuff from your business. In most cases, not for everybody, but for most cases, it's best not to post to your feed more than once a day, and there's no obligation to be posting daily either.
No, definitely not. And I think as well with this, you're going to get burnt out very quickly, and you're going to run out of content, you're going to run images, things to say. I'm not being funny, but your feed's going to be quite a boring place. It's going to be like, okay, like, you're next. You need to be making sure that you are only saying things that want to be heard. You're only sharing things that people are interested in. If you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say anything. I say that to my kids actually.
Stories are the exception here though. So that's the place where you want to be going full steam ahead on your stories and uploading kind of more on a daily basis here. Like Instagram users love stories, same, you know, we're talking about Instagram today, but you know, same sort of concept on other social medias as well. And this is the place for that quirky content. This is the place for you to be, you know, yourself, share bits from your business, share those other things that you kind of want to share with your audience that might not be typical feed posts.
I love stories. Like I love stories. I love main feed Instagram, but stories, you feel like you get an insight into somebody's like more personal side of their business or their life. And I love being nosy. I mean, who doesn't love being nosy?
So how do you know in the future? So we've shared a few myths today that simply aren't true, and ones that come up lots and lots for us when we're talking to our clients, and kind of just opening up this topic really in terms of any of the events that we're at, or if we're ever networking and we kind of hear things going on, or even some of the content we even read online and we think, where is this from? You know, how in the future do you kind of know how what is credible and what's not credible? And while the ones we've spoken about today are incredibly common and we hear them a lot, there will definitely be more in the future. We live in an age of misinformation, don't we? But, you know, always double check your sources, always like go and like look on, you know, Dr. Google and go and like have a, you know, is this credible? Do your own research. Don't just believe like the first thing that you hear and think, yeah, that sounds right. I'm going to run with it, because you just may be shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. You know what I would do to anyone listening? Save your time. Come and ask us. Just come and ask us.
All that. But yeah, check out your
check it out. Yeah.
Out and you know, test it. You know, even things that we say to our clients is, you know, test it, see what's working for you. Like, what is your audience resonated? Each one of us is going to have slightly different things that are going to, you know, tune our audiences into us and turn them off from kind of engaging with us in the future. So definitely check. Roxy's in a room with her little kitten and I'm recording with my puppy, so I was like, oh, please hope God the cat doesn't come on the screen.
She's at the door going, what are you doing, mummy? What are you doing?
So yeah, double check your sources, double check your claims, and you know, don't let anything hold you back. We will pop some bits and bobs in the show notes anyway for you to kind of go and check out some other things that can help you build your social media, from our planner to also the hashtag directory that we mentioned. But always remember, check your sources, test it out for yourself, and you know your business best. So test it out, see what's working for you, and just repeat more of that. It's that simple.
It is that simple. Love this episode. Hope you guys have as well. And we shall see you on the next episode of the Web Pro podcast. Take care.
Bye.